Hi there, I'm Stacy, the encaustic mixed media artist behind Studio Stacy. Encaustic literally means to burn in. So I paint with beeswax and a torch, and because it's mixed media, pretty much anything else I can get my hands on. If you're new around here, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Consider subscribing and joining this artsy community. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, which helps me get introduced to more like-minded artsy folks like yourself. Good morning. Hope you can hear me over the rain. It is raining here, which is a good thing. We really do need the rain. It's been a very dry, we had like no precipitation over the winter, and it's also been a very dry spring and summer. So the rain is a good thing. At any rate, I am in the studio today and I'm going to be painting, turning one of these sketches into a big painting. And I wanted to thank you all for taking the time to vote for which one I should turn into a painting. Let me flip the camera around and show you what I'm doing. All right, these two were the top two. In fact, they tied. So I decided to make an executive decision, and I'm gonna do this one first and then that one. So that's the plans. But first I'm gonna work on this one. And the reason I decided to do this one first was I don't have any of these 12 by 24 inch sizes, kind of long, skinny sizes. So I thought, well, why not do one of these? And they also will hang underneath my 24 inch paintings on the tent. So I think it'll look nice. And this one lended itself to the size perspective better than that one. So that's why I'm starting with this one. And let me also show you my nice clean work surface table. Look at that. Don't mind that panel. That panel's for the next sketch. But I got the art, except for the one on the freezer, hanging up on the walls, and the art that was in here we moved over to the barn. And the reason we moved it over to the barn is because we're really starting to come along in that space, and I'm planning on doing a couple gallery walls with some of the paintings that were in here. So stay tuned for that. I don't think I'll probably have that done before I get this video out, but I am going to be hanging some art over there and doing a gallery wall, so it should be fun. Anyways, back to today, back to this painting. I'm going to get these edges taped up and start just a really basic, quick underpainting just to get some color down. And I wanted to show you one more thing. The underpainting I'm doing, it's kind of hard to see, but you can definitely see through this. It has some different lines to it, if you will, different colors behind these colors. And so that's what I'm going to do the underpainting for. Even though a lot of it gets covered up, I just think it adds a little extra added interest.
In case you're new around here, this particular series of paintings has a bit of a deeper meaning to them. And that has to do with kindness and connections. So in this underpainting, I sketched out some heart veins with some Derwent Inktense pencils, and now I am just going to add in a bit of watercolor using tube watercolors and, of course, mixing them with water.
Okay, it's been a couple hours. This underpainting is now dry, so I'm gonna put some encaustic medium down on it. But let me flip the camera around and show you something that I found a little bit interesting now that it has stopped raining briefly and you can hear me. All right, so earlier I got out this sketchbook here just to use up some of the watercolor paint as to not waste it. But what I wanted to show you was I really keep meaning to get back into these sketches. They're super, or this sketchbook, it's super messy and you know, nothing is finished in here at all. But what I wanted to show you was this. As I was flipping to an empty page, this was the quick little sketch that, I'm reaching over here, the quick sketch that inspired this sketch that is inspiring this painting. So just kind of wanted to throw that out there. I thought it was rather interesting that it was just happened to be before this blank page where I added the extra bit of watercolor. So I don't know, sign or what? So anyways, I'm going to now get down several layers of clear encaustic medium on this and yeah, start that. So let's put some medium down. I also wanted to say that because this is watercolor, and obviously, maybe not obviously, but when you re-wet watercolor, it is not permanent. So I'm going to be checking my encaustic medium brush every time I swipe across this painting for probably the first maybe layer, maybe 2 layers, just to make sure nothing's coming off on the brush. And if there is, I can easily just wipe that off onto a paper towel. But what I don't want to do is put it into my encaustic medium and get it contaminated. Sometimes it comes off, sometimes it doesn't, because the encaustic medium isn't like a water per se. So yeah, we're just going to see if it comes off on the brush or not. All right, and in this particular instance, it's not coming off on the brush, so that's good news. Again, I'm just going to continue to check to make sure, but yeah, let's keep going with these layers. All right, I have about 6 layers of encaustic medium on here, I believe, and I'm going to call it for today in the studio. I have a couple errands I have to go run and a few other things to do over in the pole barn, so I'm going to call it here, but I'm hoping to pick you guys back up tomorrow to do more of this painting, start putting some of the color in and things like that. So yeah, we'll see you in the morning, hopefully.
I had to pick the camera up one more time here today. The deer are just outside the window here in the barn dominium, and they're just grazing away. And I just love the deer around here. So just had to share. All right, see you in the morning.
Good morning. Back in the studio today, and I'm just looking at this sketch, and because the aspect ratio is not the same as the painting, I'm just going to try to figure out what I need to kind of cut out of it, if you will. So that's the plan. I've got the wax, the grill going, so while that heats up, I'm going to kind of figure out the new aspect ratio for this painting. So this sketch is 12 by 9, and the panel I'm going to be painting on is 24 by 12. So I basically need to cut 3 inches off of this 9-inch space to make this 12 by 6, and then that will be the same aspect ratio as the 24 by 12 panel. So that's the plan here. All right, I think I'm pretty happy with that ratio there. And again, I'm doing this so I can take the dimensions of this kind of hill area and then transfer it over onto this panel. Now, I could totally just freehand it and sketch it as well. You know, that would also work out, and just kind of eyeball it. But this, I feel, just gives me personally a better jumping off point. So that's what I'm going to do. And I just thought I'd share one more thing before I start transferring this over. This Stabilo Woody is what I'm going to be using to draw onto the large panel. So if you're curious, this draws over wax really nicely. So I'm going to be using this. It's not quite the right blue because these only come in so many colors and I only have so many colors of them, but that's what I'm going to use because it draws over really smoothly.
And now it's time to start laying down some paint colors. So what I'm going to be doing on this first layer is putting down a lot more encaustic medium than encaustic paint. So I'm just doing a lot of encaustic medium with a little bit of paint mixed in. So it's going to be very translucent, these first layers. And then as I go along, I'm going to be adding more thicker, opaque paint in, less encaustic medium mixed in with the paint. And this just happens to work well for me when blending colors. And yeah, so sit back and enjoy the process. Alright, well my camera battery died during that time lapse, but I don't think you missed too much of anything. I think the bottom is pretty good. I'm going to work on the top area now with some slightly different colors, but basically the same technique, just blending them all together. Two more things to note here. First, I didn't completely clean off my griddle, and that's because I'm taking some of that dark blue and I'm mixing it in with these lighter colors just to add more interest and depth to the painting, to bring some of that dark blue and that pink up into the sky area. And then the other thing to note is that I'm turning my painting around in different directions as I torch it. And that is because I don't want to blend too much of that dark blue up into the sky area and undo kind of that clean, crisp line that I have for that hill. So anyways, sit back and enjoy this painting process.
All right, I had to pause the time lapse there because this is what I would like to call the hot mess stage. Like, sorry, my phone keeps going off. There is absolutely nothing working with that upper section. So hopefully I can turn it around. I have confidence that I will, but I just wanted to stop and show you that most artwork in some form or another looks like a hot mess at some point in time. Alright, I think this is better. Not sure if it's completely ready for the trees yet, but it's much better. So I'm going to take a break and probably pick you back up maybe in a day or two. At any rate, I just wanted to show you what it looks like as of right now. Good morning. So I've been working on this painting for the past couple days, and I'm going to flip the camera around and show you it just because I'm pretty sure that it's done. But first, I wanted to kind of explain a little bit of the process in case it would be helpful to any of you. So let me flip the camera around and show you the process just a bit. Okay, so I know I showed you this, and I don't know if I showed you this page at all, but these were the initial ideas behind this first sketch, along with this piece of tracing paper that I used to sketch out the trees and then kind of overlay it and, you know, draw them out a little bit more. So this turned into this, which turned into this, which then turned into this. And each time I redid those trees for this particular painting, I liked them a little bit better. So I guess what I'm saying here is, rather than kind of reinventing the wheel, what you can do is, once you decide you really like that tree sketch, you can then make a copy of it. Either using tracing paper or just put it on your scanner. If you have a scanner, take it to a copy place, however you want to do it. Get it into your computer, and then, because this painting was double the size, I simply doubled the tree size. And then what I did was I printed those, I flipped the images on reverse, printed them out onto vellum, and then using toner ink. You can't just use regular inkjet, so you either have to take it to a copy place to print them out, or if you have a toner printer at home, you can use that. Flip them around and transfer them onto the painting. So rather than reinventing the wheel every time, redrawing the trees, for the final painting, because I already had them kind of figured out, I really liked how they were coming out. A few I did tweak, but yeah, I just thought I'd mention that. It's, you know, rather than reinventing the process or resketching a tree 55 times, once you like that tree sketch, you can easily scan it, print it out, and transfer it, do a photo transfer onto the painting. Hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully that's a good little tip for all of you artists out there.
I do have a complete how to transfer photos onto encaustic painting video, which I will try to remember to link below. But you also want to fuse just ever so slightly after transferring that photo onto the painting, and just a real light fuse, because you don't want to completely obliterate all those tree lines. And the last step here is I'm just etching into this painting, and I'm going to be rubbing some oil stick in. So almost done with the painting.
Here it is, the final painting. Get you a couple close-ups. And I really like how in the background, these are still kind of just peeking through in spots. You can still see them. That very first layer of the watercolor. And then, of course, a few different colors of the encaustic paint. And here you can kind of see, I think you can see this little green area. That was from the very first watercolor layer as well. So there you have it. I believe one more painting is done. And with that being said, I'm gonna leave you here for now. Thank you so very, very, very much for following along. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you're not already. And if you feel like it, hit that notification bell down there, and that will notify you every time I release a new video. And again, thanks so very much for coming along. We'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.